My name is JC Sylvie, and welcome to the Loudoun Impact Podcast, where we interview purpose-driven leaders right here in Loudoun County, Virginia. Our guest today is Kristina Bouweiri. Kristina is the president, CEO, and founder of Reston Limousine. Kristina, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So obviously, we all know that Reston is not in Loudoun County, but you are a longtime resident and you do a ton of business in Loudoun County. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up in Loudoun?
Sure. So the company was founded actually in Reston at the Reston Town Center, and that lasted about 2 years, and then we outgrew our space and we had to move to Herndon. 2 years, outgrew our space, and then we moved to Loudoun. So we moved to Loudoun in 1994, and we rented a space over on Shaw Road, and we were there for 11 years, and then we bought land and we built our own facility in Loudoun behind Best Buy at the Dulles Town Center Mall.
Oh, good for you. Have you ever thought about changing the name then?
You know, when we moved to Loudoun in 1994, we talked about it. But at the time, about 80% of my business was government contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought the name Reston was kind of a brand, that the company had a little bit of a brand already. We had a contract with the Hyatt Reston, and we benefited greatly from, having that be our name.
Right.
In fact, over the years, many people tried to call me and buy my name. And of course, I said no. So I just hope that the brand is okay, whether we're in DC, Maryland, or Virginia.
Yep, it works. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be tough to change branding there when you're right in the middle of it. So it's probably a smart call there. So tell me about the business. Obviously, you're in the transportation business. Limousine is in the name. But let's go back to the beginning in starting how you started and how it became this powerhouse company here in Northern Virginia.
So actually, I'm not the founder. My ex-husband founded the company, and he was a Lebanese immigrant. And when he got to the U.S., his first job was driving limousines. And after 2 years, he was given a really big tip of $5,000 from a client. So he bought his own car and started Reston Limousine. And actually, his first company was called Unique Limousine. Did that for 2 years. And then the Hyatt Reston asked him to, he'd lived in Reston, and the Hyatt Reston asked him to move his business to Reston and change the name to Reston. So that was what happened in 1990. And I met him. He had 5 cars. I met him a few months after that. I was selling advertising, just cold calling out of the phone book. And I got an appointment to sell him an ad. So it took me 2 months to close that deal. He made me keep coming back for more appointments. But finally, closed the deal, got the check. And then we just sat in his office and talked for like 2 hours. And he said, "Do you want to get a bite to eat?" And I said, "Sure." And he took me across the street to the Hyatt Reston to the Market Street Bar and Grill. At the time was a very fancy restaurant. And that was our first date.
Oh, that's a cool story. But obviously, it turned out a lot different than that. You're now the face of Reston Limousine. So how did that become?
Okay, so when I met William, his company was 100% corporate, and I was the person who said, we need to do more things, we have to diversify. So the first market I diversified into was weddings, and I cold called brides, and within a year we were doing 100 weddings a weekend. And then one day we were just minding our own business in our office, and a guy knocked on the door and said, "Do you want to bid on a government contract?" And I'm like, "What is that?" And so his wife worked at USGS in Reston, and he said, "I'll bring you the paperwork, and if you win the contract, I just want to be a driver." So that's how I won my first contract with USGS in Reston. And so then I thought to myself, well, there have to be more of these, and I started researching government contracts and bidding on them, and was very successful. Most of the 90s, we did many government contracts, and at the same time, we were benefiting from the .coms in Reston. So America Online was our client, Network Solutions. We drove Ted Leonsis to work every day for 4 years, and then he hired away our driver.
No kidding.
And those were great times because literally We went from 200,000 to 5 million in revenue in 10 years.
Wow.
And then we lost our small business status. So, and it was about that time that we had bought land to build a house in Loudoun County. And my husband at that time was really not doing much at the office because we now had managers filling every role. And so I was still doing sales and ops. He originally did accounting, fleet management, and HR, and we now had managers doing those things. So it first started out as just taking a year off to get us moved into our new house. And then we decided we would keep it that way because we did have 5 kids, and we felt it was great for one of us to stay home with the kids and one of us to run the business. So it was just a little unorthodox. You know, we chose
Sure.
him to stay home.
Yep.
And for me to run the business.
Yeah. And now you are running the business full time. It's your company basically. Is that correct?
That's right. We ended up getting divorced in 2013. So I bought him out of the house and the business.
And you have just continued to grow the company year after year.
Yes. So he stopped working in 2000. We were doing 5 million. And 10 years later, we were at 17 million, and I asked for a divorce. And now we're at 30 million. Now that was pre-COVID. So
Sure. Right.
before COVID, we were a $30 million company, 450 employees.
So let's talk a little bit about COVID. How's your business surviving right now? What's the state of the business?
So we're very blessed because we are a limousine company, but our primary niche is buses, and we still have a lot of clients using our buses. We did have to do some severe layoffs, and we had to cut our expenses, but we're very grateful for the business that we have because I have friends in the industry all over the country, and they don't have very much work at all. So my buses are keeping me alive.
Yeah. So you were living in Loudoun County, and actually for our audience, our kids actually went to high school together in Loudoun County High School. So we do have a little bit of background there. And I understand one of your sons is working for the company now.
Yes. So I have 4 daughters and 1 son.
Right.
And I thought I was raising 4 female CEOs, and none of them want to work for the company. So my son is in our sales department. He is doing great. He started out washing cars. I told him he had to start at the bottom. And he's just done an incredible job, not only in the sales department, but also training new people, including many other Loudoun County grads. So
that's neat.
Pre-COVID, I had 5 of them working for me.
Did you really?
Unfortunately, all but 2 have been laid off for now.
Yeah.
But we hope to recruit them back.
Well, that'd be
and
good.
Have an incredible culture in the sales department.
Yeah. I Kristina, I have to give you credit because I've heard good things about your son and how you brought him into the company. You just didn't hand him a thing. You just you made him start from the bottom and work his way up, and whatever he was able to achieve, it's because he's worked really hard. So that's pretty neat. I liked hearing that story about how you've been handling the kids in the business. And I heard your girls are doing well as out in California. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2 are in California. I keep hoping they'll move back to Virginia, but they just won't. And my youngest is at Longwood University, and she just completed her last exam, and so she's basically home for the summer. She's been home for a couple of months since the virus hit,
right.
But she'll be a senior at Longwood University. And then my stepdaughter works for PR and Partners in Ashburn near the Whole Foods.
Mm-hmm. Good for them. Kristina, you are involved in a lot of philanthropy endeavors here in Loudoun County. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're passionate about and discuss those?
Sure. So we got married in 1991. And I had a 4-year-old stepdaughter, and my ex-husband wanted like 12 kids. And it took me a while. It took me a while to get pregnant. It took me like 5 years. So I struggled with infertility. And finally, in 1996, I gave birth to healthy boy-girl twins. And at that point, we decided that our mission at the company would be to support children's charities. So we just felt so blessed. And then my next child came before the twins were one. So whatever was wrong with me
You're
was
right.
fixed. And then I had another baby 2 years later. So I
Oh
had
my gosh.
4 kids in 3 years. I don't recommend it, especially when they go to college and they're all in college at the same time. But we just felt so blessed. We felt blessed with the business. We felt blessed with the kids. And we knew it was our responsibility to give back to the community. So we started out offering free rides to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Children's Inn at NIH, and any charity that helps sick children, like juvenile diabetes. And over time, it just grew. It grew because when you start giving, it makes you feel so good that you just want to give more. And so we sort of had a philosophy here that, we're a seasonal business. We're super busy in spring and fall, not so busy in the winter and summer. If a nonprofit needed some free buses or whatever, we would donate them. And so we did that very regularly. We also donated gift certificates to nonprofits that were having, galas for their silent auctions. And so we expanded our giving to not just children. And I think it was 2008, I joined 100 Women Strong, which is a nonprofit in Loudoun County founded by Karen Schaufeld. And our mission is to give back to women, children, education, health, and housing, and hunger. So it's been an awesome experience being part of that group and learning about all the other nonprofits in the county and being able to give back that way. So that's really why it started, how it started, and how it took me to where I am today.
You've had an incredibly successful career. There has to be a story behind that as a girl growing up, who you're motivated by and influenced by. What was it like at the dinner table when you were a high school kid?
So I went to boarding school. My parents were in the Foreign Service. So I was born in Japan, lived in Brazil 6 years, 3 years in Portugal, and 10 years in Africa. So,
whoa. Yeah.
My parents were not sort of risk takers. My dad worked for the government as a diplomat. And, my mother's father was a businessman in Seattle, Washington. So maybe I got some of it from him, but
right.
I don't know. I was just always very motivated in life to do something with my life. I did think that I was going to join the Foreign Service like my dad.
Mm-hmm.
But my senior year in college, I got a job offer from a nonprofit in Africa, and I took that job. So I went back to Africa and I worked in Somalia.
Whoa.
And 2 years in Somalia, and I decided to leave the industry. And I came back to States, and the only job I could find was a 100% commission sales advertising job. And so that's how I got into the limousine business. But if you go back to my childhood, we moved around a lot. We always had to sort of learn how to get along with new people. Every 3 years, we had to understand how to live in different cultures.
Yep.
And in Africa, I went to a multiracial boarding school with the children of Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu.
Whoa, that's no, there's a story behind that, I'm sure, right?
It was amazing. So I always say that it was that experience in that boarding school in Africa when I was sort of at a very impressionable age. I was in middle school, and I was surrounded by all these really dynamic people that were facing crazy, experiences in their lives, like apartheid.
Right.
And, I lived there as a minority, there was
Yep.
only 10% white students and Christians. And so I experienced that. And because of that, I've never, believed in discrimination. I've always been very inclusive. And what I love about my business is that the majority of my employees are actually immigrants from all over the world. And my clients are very international as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I'm still in that world, which is really great.
Right. It's pretty neat how you brought it right out of Africa into your business here in Northern Virginia, and you're giving those immigrants an opportunity to excel just like you have. Pretty impressive. What? Maybe we'll switch gears a little bit and make it a little lighter here. I'm curious about your morning routine now that COVID has set in, and people are waking up later and later each day. And
Yes. Well,
have you been sticking
most
to
of my
yours?
employees are working from home,
Uh huh.
but I am still coming into the office. I'm in the office now. I come into the office every day. There's probably only 4 of us here, and we're all in different offices, and we try to do all of our meetings by phone or Zoom.
Right.
At 9 o'clock in the morning, I have a Zoom call every single day with my managers. And we're on the phone for about, sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's half an hour, talking about what's going on, what we have ahead of us for the day, whether it's moving buses around or, a driver that called off or whatever it may be. And then we go about our business as usual. I would say that, I've been in business 30 years and I've probably worked 50 to 60 hours a week for 30 years. And right now I'm not.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's like I'm always busy till about 12 or 1 o'clock. And then I don't even get very many emails. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to take advantage of that. I'm signing up for a lot of webinars, Zoom calls,
Yeah.
trying to learn something new every week. And then I've done a few things at the house that I never had time to do. Like I decided to start organizing my photographs and before they went digital,
Right.
and working in my garden. So I wanted to do things that would make me feel good, since
Yeah.
these times are they're so filled with uncertainty. And so sorting old photographs, working in the garden, spending more time with my kids and my pets has been really filling me.
Where have you been getting any good takeout lately? What have you been enjoying?
Takeout. So we definitely do Ford's Fish Shack once a week. I think I live in River Creek Country Club now, and I believe they come every Monday night.
Yep.
We've had food from Trevinia. We have had food from China King, the
Sure.
famous Leesburg great Chinese restaurant. We
Downtown
try and do that
Leesburg.
about once a week.
Yep.
La Villa Roma delivers to our house, usually every Sunday. I'm not much of a cook, by the way.
Well, that's funny. We do La Villa Roma probably once a week, and it's on Fridays though. So we've got a different day for
Yeah,
that.
we have been, Reston Limousine and La Villa Roma have had a partnership for 30 years, and it's been great. Now for Indian food, I get food from a restaurant in Manassas called Rangoli,
Huh.
and they deliver to Aldi on Thursdays, and so you don't have to drive all the way to Manassas. Um, and so that's basically what we've been doing.
Have you tried Five Torara in Leesburg Village, the Indian there next to the movie theater?
Oh, the Thai restaurant, I
Yeah.
think?
Oh no, I'm
No.
sorry, the Indian Five Torara.
I tried that place a couple times, but the problem with the villages of Leesburg is there's nowhere to park.
Exactly.
You
Right.
know, I guess I could always order it to be delivered.
Well, now since there's hardly anybody driving through there, like you can probably park right in front there and pull up and grab it. That's what I've done a couple times, so
You're right.
it works pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, we're trying to help the restaurants. We really are.
yeah. I'm all in favor of it. So what is something that you really miss right now that you're surprised that you actually miss it? It just kind of popped, something that just kind of you're surprised by that it would be missed so much.
So I'm an extrovert, and people energize me. And I always did a lot of networking, and I really miss it. I don't miss going out 4 nights a week for sure.
Right.
And I don't miss my daily routine that was a little brutal before. Pretty much, um, I'm on 10 boards of directors, and so running the business, going to board meetings, I was too busy.
Sure.
And going back to like the new normal after COVID, I don't think I'm ever going to try and keep that kind of a schedule. Um, I really miss wine tours. I mean, being able to go to a winery and sit outside,
Yeah.
look at the scenery. I started doing wine tours right after 9/11 because I was trying to find a new revenue stream. And so they've always been a big part of my business. And it's just so weird that you can't just drive out to a winery and
Right.
have some cheese and bread and great wine. I think that's the first thing I'm going to do when I can.
I know
And
it.
we're actually hoping everyone wants to do that, because we're going to be marketing that like crazy, because we feel that pretty easy way to social distance.
Yeah, outside, right. I mean,
Hmm.
with the nice weather, I think they're going to be packed. I think there's going to be a lot of people there, and I'm looking forward to it. What's your choice for your first winery? I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you have a lot of great clients, but
It's no problem. Stone Tower all the way. I'm very close friends with the owners, and that's the one that I'd like to go to first, probably. But believe it or not, there's a lot of wineries I've never been to. I mean, I did so many wine tours personally for about 7 or 8 years that I knew every winery in this part of Virginia.
right.
But that's all changed
Yeah.
because there are so many new ones to explore, and I look forward to exploring all of them. For sure.
So I really appreciate your time, Christina. I usually ask my guests where they can reach out, but I think it would be appropriate, maybe in this situation, to mention your charity. I mean, if it's okay with you, the what is it? The 100 Women Strong.
100 Women Strong.
Yeah, if you want to, if anybody in the audience wants to contribute or take part in that somehow, what's the best way to do that?
Um, we have a website. I forget what it is. It's like 100. You have to Google 100 Women Strong Loudon,
Okay.
because there's a lot of 100
I
Women
was gonna
Strong
say
groups.
that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out.
We appreciate your time, Christina. This is a lot of fun. Good chatting with you and catching up. Best of luck to Reston Limousine and your son there working for you guys. I'm rooting for you. Hope to see you at Stone Tower maybe in a couple months.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Christina.
having me.
You bet.